All right, so this week we are going to learn about law of sines and law of cosines. And they kind of build on all the stuff we've learned with trigonometry. Now, the SOHCAHTOA stuff that we've done is always with right triangles. So law of sines and law of cosines are what you use when you have what's called an oblique triangle. So a triangle that doesn't have a right angle. And that's the first blanks that we're going to fill in. So the law of sines is used to solve oblique triangles, which are triangles that have no right angle. Right? Now, eventually, you are going to have to figure out like when you do law of sines and when you do law of cosines. So right now it's obvious because law of sines is the only one we're learning. But in the end, you will have to be able to make that decision. So one case when you use law of sines is when you know two angles and any side. And then the second case is when you know two sides and an opposite angle. All right. One nice thing about the law of sines is that on the ACT, they will give it to you, or at least tell you in words what it is. And on our challenge exam reference sheet, they also give it to you. So that is awesome. It's not something that you have to memorize. I think you probably will learn it super fast because it's easy. But it is one less thing to worry about memorizing. So for the law of sines, if ABC is a triangle with sides A, B, and C, then the sine of angle A over side A is going to be equal to the sine of angle B over side B, which is also going to be equal to the sine of angle C over side C. Now, you would never set up a ratio with all three. So you just, depending on what you're given, you're going to use two at a time. All right, and just to recap, I know you guys know this, but angles of triangles are labeled with capital letters, and the sides are labeled with lowercase letter, and the side opposite of angle A is side A, opposite of angle B is side B, and opposite of angle C is side C. So that works for all of them. All right. So for our first example, we're given two sides and one, just kidding, we're given two angles and one side, which is one of the cases that we would do law of sines. All right, so when you have two angles and one side, you automatically can find the third angle super fast without using any trigonometry, just using the rule of the angles inside of a triangle. So we all know inside of a triangle is 180 degrees. So we can take 180, subtract the two angles that we know, and that'll give us our angle, the third angle that we didn't know, which is angle C. All right, so we have all three angles, and we need to, so that means we need to find two more sides. And because of what we're given, we definitely are going to use the law of sines. And for the law of sines, with what we're given originally, we will go ahead and use the two things for A. So we would say that the sine of 123 degrees over side A. All right, then let's just go ahead and find side B. that's going to be equal to the sine of B over side B. So we just set up the ratio 2 at a time. So I just used angle A inside A and angle B inside B. And then to solve this, you're going to cross multiply. So we would multiply B by the sine of 123 degrees is equal to 10 times the sine of 41 degrees. And then to solve for B, we're just going to need to divide by the sine of 123 degrees. And that's how we're going to leave our answers, because we're not using the graphing calculator. I know there are other calculators where we could find this, but we're going to leave it in the way they would leave it on the challenge exam, and that's it for side B. Okay. And again, we're solving the triangle in this one, so we want to find every angle and every side. So the only side we don't know is side C. So you guys go ahead and set up the ratio you would use to find side C. Okay, so we would use what we were given. What we know exactly is that angle A is 123 and side A, 123 degrees and side A is 10 inches. So we would have that, the sine of 123 degrees over 10. And then what we want to find is side C. So that should be equal to the sine of C, which is, we found a second ago by subtracting, is 16 degrees over side C, which is what we don't know. All right, and then same thing like before, we're going to cross multiply. And then divide. So C is going to be equal to a very similar fraction. The difference is it's angle C, which is 16 degrees up there instead of angle B. And that's it. All right, for example 2, we're given an angle and 2 sides, which is the second situation. Now, without a graphing calculator, we cannot solve this whole triangle. But what we can do is just find one thing. So that's why if you guys look at your assignment, on the 3 of them, I told you just to find one angle, because you just don't, it's impossible without a graphing calculator or with a calculator that uses sine to find all of it. And it's okay, because I know you can do it if you had a calculator, but we're not. We're going to try to be as least stressed as possible these days. All right, so you guys look at what you're given and set up the ratio for me. There's really only one ratio that we can even set up right now. All right, so angle A and side A are going in the same fraction. Angle B and side B are going in the same fraction. And so, because it's a law of sines, we're using sine of angle A over however long side A is, which is 21, is equal to the sine of angle B. Now, that is our variable in this problem. That's what we're looking for. And then over side B, which is 5. All right, just like before, we are going to cross multiply. Okay. All right, and then to solve for B, we would need to divide by 21. Okay, It's been a little while since we talked about this, but once you get to this point, if we know what the sine of angle B is, and we want to find angle B, this is where we do the inverse sine. All right, and that is how we would have to represent angle angle B. All right, so you have your assignment there at the bottom. And if you guys like these odd numbers, if y'all check the back of the book, it's going to have a whole bunch of decimal answers because the book is written for you all to do with a calculator. So don't worry about the answers in the back of the book. So you guys do this assignment, and good luck. You can email me if you have a question. You can post a question on Classroom. If you email me a question, I'll probably post it on Classroom, but not put your name on it if you don't want me to. But if you have a question, I'm sure there's probably other people that have the same one. So I'm going to try